I want to begin with a couple of statements. You want to write them down. Number one, every human being was created to succeed. God has never created a failure. People fail, but that's not God's will for them. And number two, success seems to be largely a matter of hanging on after others have let go. Successful people are people who don't give up. As a matter of fact, I have come to the conclusion that a successful person is actually a failure who didn't quit. And therefore, a person who's a failure is actually a successful person who quit. The only difference between the two is hanging in, holding on. Failure is only postponed success. As long as courage coaches ambition, you can succeed. Failure is postponed success. When you fail, it's only temporary, but you can make it permanent. Never accept failure as a permanent address. If you're going to succeed in life, you always put failure in perspective. As a matter of fact, here's one to remember. If you have lost confidence in yourself, make believe you are somebody else. I did that years ago, and it changed my perspective of my life. Sometimes you can lose confidence in what you are able to achieve. And that's when God commands you to be somebody else. I remember studying the Bible over the years, and I've been intrigued by how many people became shocked when God introduced themselves to themselves. I remember when I first read about Abraham. God changed Abraham's name to his real name. Abraham's parents called him Abram. Abram actually means fatherless. Fatherless. No wonder why the guy had no children. God comes, meets him in the mountain and says, "You shall now be called Abraham." Abraham means father of many. Abraham couldn't believe it. God said, "Look up at the stars. If you can count them, that's how many kids you're going to have." When God met Gideon, he made Gideon somebody else. Gideon was a coward, hiding under the floor, the threshing floor. He was afraid to go out. The angel appeared and says, "Mighty man of valor." Gideon looked around and said, who are you talking to? Because he was a coward and he was hiding. If you lose your confidence, become somebody else. Because sometimes what you believe about yourself ain't enough to do what God's telling you to do. So become somebody else. I remember when God spoke to me about who I was, I became very, very confused. I said, "You got to be joking. This is not me." God said, "This is you. The truth about you will shock you." People still don't know who you are, including the folks who live in your house. They thought they knew you. Tell them, wait around for 10 years. They're going to say, "I never knew this was in the house." To be successful, you got to pay a price. Here's one to remember. It's written by Booker T. Washington, one of the first black leaders in America. Powerful man. He said this about success. He says, "I have learned that success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life, but by the obstacles which he has overcome while trying to succeed." How true. People respect you not by what you've achieved, but what you had to go through to get there. That's why we admire, for example, Nelson Mandela. We don't admire his intellect. We don't admire the fact that he was a lawyer, graduate from the university in London. We admire that he was in jail for 25 years. So if you want to be respected, you got to go through some obstacles. If you want people to trust you, you have to be tested with tough times. And you are trusted by what you came through, not by what you achieve. And if you're going to become successful in life, you're going to have to be willing to pay the price to be trusted and to be respected. You know, in my country today, people respect me a little bit. And guess what? They qualified me for it. You remember? Yeah, I was a cult first. Then BFM meant bring the finances to Myles. Come on, some of y'all sitting here today used to say that. Now you're members of the church. But it's not what you achieved, it's what you went through. That's success. So if you're going through a tough time right now, you are qualifying for success. Be patient and be confident. Here's a statement I wrote down last night. It says, adversity introduces a man to himself. How true. Adversity will show you who you are. You never know who you are until you face a problem. You can brag all you want until trouble hits you. You can tell folks how much faith you got until hell breaks loose. We're going to find out who you really are. Adversity reveals you to yourself. Tell your neighbor, I find out a lot about me lately. It's a part of life. Christmas to me is a woman named Mary who became successful because she went through obstacles. She handled adversity well. She dealt with the issues that made her respected. First of all, let's review quickly what is Christmas. Christmas is defined as the incarnation of God in human flesh. Christmas is eternity entering time. Christmas is forever entering now. Christmas is the Creator entering creation. Christmas is the mystery of redemption entering the rebellious. Christmas is God becoming man. Matthew 1 verse 22 says, all this took place to fulfill what the Lord had said through the prophet. Quote, the virgin will be with child and will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us, end quote. Christmas is God in a human body. Now, the body that God used to get himself into the earth was the body of a young woman. She has a lot to teach us because every human being was born to be successful in delivering to earth God's other babies. Let me tell you what a baby is. This building is called an architectural brainchild. The chair you're sitting in is somebody's brainchild. The suit you're wearing is somebody's brainchild. Am I right? Sure. The car you're driving is someone's brainchild. That means brains can have children. You can be mentally pregnant. This is how you produce greatness. First, you got to get pregnant. You have to conceive the idea. Ideas are conceptions of God's babies. You were born and given to the earth to deliver to this planet God's baby that he gave you in your mind. In your heart, the word mind and heart, God put in you his divine assignment, his idea. And getting it to earth, you must follow the exact same process as Mary. I put it to you then that God gave us Christmas not just to deliver himself to the world, but to teach us lessons on how to deliver his other selves to the world, his assignments, his specific purposes for our lives. Isaiah chapter 7 says, verse 14, therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. What's the sign? The virgin will be with child and will give birth to a son, and you will call him Emmanuel. Galatians 4:3 says, but when the time had fully come, God sent his son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those under the law, that we might receive the full rights of sons. Here we find the fulfillment of that promise. But what's so beautiful here is that God had an idea, and that was to put himself into a body and deliver it to the world. What's important here is Mary was successful. She delivered. Everybody say delivered. Tell your neighbor, deliver just like Mary. In other words, Mary was the host. She conceived a divine assignment. But what's good about it, it says she delivered. It says she was born from this woman. He was born. She delivered successfully. How do you deliver God's assignment successfully in your life? Well, here's what I want to take you through. Every human being, write this down, was created and conceived to fulfill God's purpose in their generation. Every human being, that includes you. You were not created just to make a living and pay bills. Well, that's a good thing to remember. Paying bills is boring. You were not sent to earth just to keep a mortgage going or rental payments. You were born because there's something God wanted the world to receive that required your entrance. When you go into this new year, 2009, stop just looking for a job. Look for an assignment. Matter of fact, write this down. You were born to fulfill a divine assignment on earth. Every human being. Say it with me. I was born to fulfill a divine assignment on earth. Say it again. I was born to fulfill a divine assignment on earth. Point number 3. You were conceived to conceive. I repeat it. You were conceived to conceive and to deliver a divine assignment on planet Earth. I want you to take that to heart. You came to this earth not to take up space. You came here to make a difference. And no matter how small you think you are an important assignment from God to this planet. God sent you here because the earth needed what you are carrying. You were conceived to conceive an assignment that our generation needs right now. And that's why you should give yourself a big hand for being that important. Please turn the lights up, please. Write this down. Number 4, you were born to impact your generation. You know, I didn't think so until the Lord had to actually convince me of that. When I discovered who I was and how important I was, I fought it. I couldn't believe it. I said, only important people do those kinds of things. The vice president of South Africa, she came to a meeting I was speaking at. She wanted to meet me and my wife, and we met with her. And I'm sitting there, you know, we're having our courtesy talk before we go into the conference. And she leans over, she says, I've read 4 of your books. And I'm thinking, this is the vice president of South Africa. She is telling me she had read my material, and I'm from Baintown. And I still live 5 minutes from Baintown. Suppose I didn't write. That means somehow my thoughts are influencing the second most powerful person in South Africa, who makes decisions for the country and becomes the president when the president is away. Can a man from Baintown influence the decisions of a person ruling a country? Absolutely yes. And then my question, am I that important? You are that important. Write this down. Mary's life was an example for all of us to learn from. What did she teach us? How to deliver. how to deliver. And I want to take you through very quickly the most important lessons you must learn going forward. Matter of fact, if you follow these lessons, I will see you at the top. I'm about to give you a list of assignments to follow that will take you into success no matter what you assign yourself to do. There's no way you can fail if you follow the lessons that Mary taught us and the great act of God's delivery in the world. Let's begin. Proverbs 19 says, many are the plans in a man's heart, but the Lord's purpose will what? Prevail. Psalm 57:21 says, I cry unto the Lord Most High, to God who fulfills his purpose for me. He sends from heaven and saves me, rebuking those who hotly pursue me. I love this verse. Not only does God have a purpose for your life, it says, but he fulfills it for you. That means God wants you to succeed more than you want to succeed. And he also will attack those who attack your purpose. Tell your neighbor, be nice to me. Look at that verse. It says, he sends from heaven and saves me and rebukes those who attempt to pursue me against my purpose. Your purpose protects you from people who are harmful. Once you start pursuing what God told you to do, you become protected by God himself. He sends from heaven to save you. That means he'll bring divine intervention to Kapunkala people. Divine protection. He will fulfill his purpose for me. The one he gave me, he'll see that it's done. So watch God go to work. Purpose is, first of all, defined as the original reason why something exists. Purpose is also defined as the intent for production, the reason for existence, the desired result that caused creation. Purpose is defined as the original function and assignment for a thing. In other words, many are the plans in a man's heart, but the Lord's assignment for that man will prevail. Many are the plans in your heart, God said, but the assignment I have for your life will prevail. That means you will never be at peace until you're doing what I assign you to do. Prevail means it will cause pressure and discomfort if you're not doing what you were born to do. It will prevail means it will frustrate you until you are doing it. This is why finding God's purpose is the key to peace, personal peace, and also corporate peace. Because if you're frustrated, you frustrate everybody else around you. But when you find God's purpose and you find that peace, you become peaceful and you create peace. It's important then to understand that you were born with an assignment that you're supposed to deliver to the world.
I trust God you have been blessed by this video, and for you to prove me right that you have truly been blessed by the video, I would like you to click on the like button, share the video, and also subscribe so that you can get new videos as we upload. We really appreciate you. The Lord bless you in Jesus' name.